Hi everyone! It's the weekend, so today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics. I first heard the story of going south to Nanyang from the movie Dear You, but I never knew that behind this simple phrase lies one of the most tragic, resilient, and soul-stirring migration histories of the Chinese nation, spanning thousands of years of exploration. The so-called Nanyang refers to today's entire Southeast Asia, including the Indochina Peninsula, the Malay Archipelago, and all surrounding coastal regions. Chinese people traveling to Nanyang is never a modern phenomenon. It is a long journey that has lasted for more than 2,000 years. As early as the Han Dynasty, maritime routes towards Nanyang took initial shape. During the Tang and Song dynasties, countless ancestors sailed southward, launching cross-border trade and overseas settlements. The Central Plains civilization formed deep connections with the lands of Southeast Asia. In the Yongle reign of the Ming Dynasty, Zheng He led 7 great voyages to the Western Oceans, fully establishing and consolidating the Nanyang maritime routes. Trade flourished, and sea routes opened wide. The Ming Dynasty even set up the Old Port Pacification Superintendency in Sumatra, the southernmost overseas territory in ancient Chinese history, the greatest testament to Chinese civilization taking root in Nanyang. At the end of the Ming and beginning of the Qing dynasties changed. Many remaining Ming troops who resisted the Qing conquest, along with countless Chinese people who refused to adopt new hairstyles and foreign customs, traveled far to the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. They built new settlements and preserved Ming Dynasty rituals and traditions. History remembers them as the Ming Xiang people. Their journey was not simply to make a living. It was to preserve their roots. Amid national collapse, they refused to abandon Chinese culture and dignity. Their distant migration represented the unyielding spirit of the Chinese people. Yet the largest wave of going south to Nanyang, which reshaped the fate of millions, began in the Qing Dynasty. The main pioneers were almost entirely people from Fujian and Guangdong provinces. This was no coincidence. It was a survival destiny carved deep into regional blood and history. Kaohsian and Minnan regions were described as 3 mountains, 6 waters, 1 field surrounded by mountains, facing the sea with barren land and extremely limited farmland. Living purely on farming was nearly impossible. People in inland China survived on land, but people from Fujian and Guangdong survived by facing the ocean. This land destined them for adventure, migration, and endless exploration. After the Kangxi Emperor reclaimed Taiwan, maritime bans were lifted, opening a gateway for overseas travel. Countless coastal people fled to Nanyang in search of survival. Yet, in the eyes of the Qing court, these departing people were abandoned subjects, unprotected and forgotten by the empire. But it was these ordinary, unsupported people who created miracles on foreign soil, writing countless legendary chapters in history. Fangbo, a failed scholar from Guangdong, traveled far to Borneo, a land rich in gold mines. He united scattered overseas Chinese communities, adopted modern Western commercial systems, established companies, formed armed defenses, and eventually founded the Lanfang Republic. A common, ordinary person, relying only on unity and wisdom, founded a century-long Chinese sovereign states overseas, an unprecedented legend in Chinese migration history. One of his greatest generals, Wu Yuansheng, protecting local Chinese and civilians bravely, overthrowing tyrannical local rulers and bringing peace to the region. Even more legendary is Zheng He, a Kaohsian Chinese descendant. Born into poverty, he traveled far to Siam, today's Thailand. When Burma invaded and the country faced destruction, he rose up, united Chinese migrants and local people, fought back the invasion, restored the nation, and founded the Thonburi Dynasty. He became the famous King Taksin in Thai history, thanks to his Chinese heritage. The Thai royal family has kept the Chinese surname, Zheng, for over 200 years. The current King Rama, the 10th Chinese name is Zheng He for more than 2 centuries. Thailand's royal family has carried a Chinese surname, solid historical proof of how deeply Chinese pioneers shaped Southeast Asia. If early migration to Nanyang was spontaneous exploration and survival, the wave after the Opium War became a bitter, a blood-stained chapter of suffering. In the late Qing Dynasty, constant wars and natural disasters devastated southern China, leaving people impoverished and displaced. Meanwhile, Western colonial powers occupied Southeast Asia and urgently needed massive labor for tin mines and rubber plantations. After the decline of the slave trade, hardworking, resilient, and abundant Chinese laborers became the colonizers' most ideal workforce. Human traffickers lied to countless villagers with promises of gold. Everywhere in Nanyang, many were tricked or even abducted and forced onto overseas cargo ships. This shameful history is known as the selling of piglets. The brutal Chinese coolie trade. Shipholds were overcrowded, dark, and inhumane. Laborers lost all dignity and freedom. Nearly 1/3 of Chinese migrants died at sea during each voyage, their bodies sinking silently into the ocean. In 1860, after the signing of the Beijing Treaty, Shantou officially opened as a trading port, legalizing the cruel coolie trade. Massive numbers of Chinese laborers were forced into Southeast Asia, beginning their darkest years of exploitation. Overseas Chinese faced triple oppression: exploitation from colonial rulers, exclusion from local ethnic groups, and suppression of their native culture. Locals and colonizers banned Chinese language and education, attempting to erase all traces of Chinese culture. Yet even under such hellish conditions, millions of Chinese migrants persisted, multiplied, and took root. They mined tin across Malaya, planted rubber across Indonesia. With their flesh and blood, they built the foundation of Southeast Asia and modern economics, established the enduring overseas Chinese community structure we see today. After understanding this complete history of going south to Nanyang, I realized one truth: migration and traveling far from home has never meant betraying one's homeland. Ancient ancestors ventured southward into desperate conditions to survive through chaos and preserve the fire of Chinese civilization. Today, when we leave small towns and travel abroad in peaceful times, we search for broader lands and greater possibilities for our lives. Our parents' generations dreamed of falling leaves returning to their roots, pursuing stability, belongings, and home. Our generation chooses to take root wherever we land, pursuing growth, freedom, and unlimited potential. Moving from small cities to major cities means searching for soil where we can thrive within our country. Traveling from China to the world means searching for a global stage where we can grow, shine, and create value. This passionate, tragic, and glorious history explains why audiences strongly reject distorted film adaptations that dishonor Ming Dynasty history and our ancestors' courage. History is never cold text. It represents the fearless, the spirits of our ancestors who crossed oceans and endured endless hardship. Only by understanding the story of going south to Nanyang can we truly understand the roots and backbone of the Chinese people. We carry 5,000 years of farming resilience in our blood, alongside the fearless pioneering spirit of our Nanyang ancestors. We are hardworking, patient, resilient, adventurous, and capable of rooting anywhere. Greatness never belongs to the land itself. It belongs to ordinary people who refuse to stop growing and dare to, chasing distant horizons. The world is vast. Grass and trees grow wherever the soil is fertile. Chinese people are meant to bloom across mountains, oceans, and every corner of the world.